Welcome to Sergeant Zig-Zag's Intel Brief. Today we're going to be discussing devlog number 36, Monte Ciago. The second part of the map. A cliffside assault poses challenges for attackers and defenders alike. This was tweeted out on September 23rd, the year 2022. This is also Isonzo WW1 Italian Front is still available on Steam for only $29.99. So here we go, guys. Let's watch this short video before we get into the detailed devlog. As I'm reading here, here's a video with Robin Nielsen, our level designer, who tells you a bit about Monte Ciago. Here we go.
And today, we're on the Asiago Plateau. In our new game, Isonzo, you take part in several offensives on the Italian front, one of which was the so-called Expedition, also known as the Trentino Offensive. The Austrian offensive took place on the Asiago Plateau in May of 1916 and was meant to cut off the Italians on the Carso by pushing towards Venice. The Asiago Plateau has some unique characteristics, such as its rolling hills that kind of resemble those we find in Germany or France. On the edges, there are steep ravines and mountains that overlook deep valleys. Let's take a closer look at some of the key elements of the battles on the plateau. Fort Gorbin behind me is part of the story of the Expedition. At the time, it was one of the best forts the Italians had on their border, perched on the western edge of the Asiago Plateau. Like with all forts, it was deemed useless with the invention of super heavy artillery, and its cannons were removed. During the Austrian offensive, it quickly fell into their hands on the 30th of May. After the Austrian retreat following the failure of the Expedition, it was partially demolished and abandoned to the advancing Italians. Monte Cengio is a mountain on the edge of the Asiago Plateau in the plain of the Veneto. It was the scene of a desperate last-ditch effort to keep the Austrians from breaking through to the plain. The Italians carved out galleries and tunnels into the steep mountainside, turning it into a bulwark. With the Austrians capturing the approaches and most of the plateau, the main defensive line was formed along the southern ridge. The defense of this sector fell to the Sardinian Grenadier Brigade. They were pushed back onto the mountain positions at Monte Zovetto in the east as the Austrians stormed forward. The story goes that after they expended all their bullets, brave Sardinians threw themselves off the mountain, dragging all the Austrians with them. After their initial push, the Austrians had to abandon any further offensive operations. On the eastern front, the Brusilov offensive was in full swing, and that required all available reserves. The Austrians were forced to retreat to a more favorable position in the north.
Here, without further ado, let's read more of this article. As we prepare to attack the second line, it's worth noting that Fort Corbin, the capture objective of the first line, maintains some value as a spotting position for officers and mountaineers, or a sniping nest for marksmen, which is very true. Most of us have already come up with that idea, and it's a great position, especially for your mountaineer, which is very important for spotting for your marksmen and officers and laying in artillery and taking care of some of them HMG machine gun nests. So here we go. There are two objectives for the Austro-Hungarians in the second line: sabotaging a gun position in a forest clearing and taking a capture point in the forested cliffside camp. Basically, these the route that leads from the fortress complex through the rural mountain settlement, plus a shell crater fields and forest. So as most of us experienced this already, you come up some impromptu defenses as playing as an engineer. And then we get to where we have the sabotage objective, which you'll need your engineer as a zapper to go ahead. It'd be a lot quicker for him to lay the explosive. So when approaching the gun pit from both sides, you'll need to be worried about some HMG heavy machine gun positions on the banks of the earth that can easily hide more enemies behind them. The rifleman's great at this. We're going to solder chuck a couple of grenades in there, get the mountaineer in a mid position about 100 yards away, spot the area, then let your assault and your rifleman armed with the Grenadier 2 or 1 with the grenade launcher added to the rifle and take out those nasty HMG positions. So basically, the 10 encampment on the four slopes is more open, running almost to the edge of the cliffs. Defenders should watch out for people shooting from Fort Corbin and would probably be advised to keep the tents between themselves and the fortress complex. Austro-Hungarians can try a frontal assault along the main road, or they can flank around from the gun position objective. Yeah, as we know, we got the main road there. You can flank left or right, and you work your way up those positions, and you have the vehicles, and I think there's one HMG or two HMGs on the other side. Yeah, this is a fun area to fight for. This is a fun objective. The Austro-Hungarians succeed. They are on their Penula objective, an Italian base on Monte Cengio itself. After crossing the picturesque mountain stream on the route, leads upwards to a series of winding cliffside paths reinforced with wood and wire. So basically, the goal of a single capture point in a cluster of wooden shacks, even after establishing forward spawn points, there's still quite a way for the attackers to reach the capture point. Yeah, there is. There's a battle, that's for sure. And there's only so many routes up there. The Austro-Hungarians will need to make a good use of grenades, officer call-ins, and mortars at one of the forward spawn points. Yes, forward spawn points are very important, guys. Get your engineers on them. Get some sandbags up. Get a mountaineer before you move on to the next trench. It's good to take a little pause once you get those. Kind of get your mountaineer and spot. That's one thing I like playing as a mountaineer. Get to those forward positions of an engineer. Build those forward spawn points, your forward flag positions, and maintain them. They're very important. Yesterday I was having some fun basically chasing a group around, going around, and every time they would destroy one of our forward points, I would rebuild it, and I would try to find them in the trenches. You'll see a little bit of that gunplay in the background. So basically we have the forest cliffside camps and huts that you'll be able to enter. They're great to snipe from and marksman and spot from. Also, you can cut off your routes and create choke points with your barbed wire as an engineer. And then we have the tight rocky path up the hill. Boy, this is a beautiful picturesque picture of the Italian mountainside of Isonzo. Okay, so assuming that you manage to get up to the final objective in the single capture point of the peak of Monte Cengio, the terrain for this final push is similarly rocky, but has less of a height difference, allowing longer range engagements without the brutal uphill assault and better sight lines from forward spawn points to the objective. The Austro-Hungarians may well find this last push easier than the previous one. What is great, I just unlocked the one perk where I can climb faster as a mountaineer, and I've been experiencing that, and I know I can get up a lot quicker to these higher points. So the mountaineer class definitely has its benefits and abilities. That said, watch out for the tunnels running below the sector and the capture point. Enemies will emerge from unexpected places. Learning the layout of the underground passageways will give you an edge. It won't be an easy battle, but overall the landscape is less unusual than the previous sector except for the tunnels. We'll close out with the complete flyover of Monte Cengio. Yes, these tunnels, I just love the layout of the maps. Guys, comment below how you're liking the game, the maps, and what classes you prefer. Or are you like me, you jump between the classes as the battle wages. And we rage on with our soldiers. Alright, so here we go. Here's the flyover. I am Sergeant Zig-Zag. Go ahead and hit that like button and stay tuned for my channel for more dev blog information and intel briefs. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you.